Sound to your mind.
Breathe. I stay quiet as I light on my loud light. Breathe. I balance diet, I'm just trying to get my pounds right. Breathe. I stay quiet as I light on my loud light. Breathe. I balance diet, I'm just trying to get my pounds right. Shouts all on my team, I need more than a mattress support in my dreams. Could grab a few Zeds like I'm falling asleep, but I don't wanna wake for the morning. Grief, breathe. Tears drop to the form in the sea. A broke heart, but it's worn in my sleeve. Never listened, I was warned in my teens, but I still skipped school, I was taught in the streets. Ring back, don't call for police. Stand tall, don't fall for the beast. Got issues with trust, so I'm born to believe. We've been a victim of love and now we're caught in it deep. Breathe.
Yes, people, what's happening? And welcome back to Gav Goes In. Big up yourselves each and every time. Big up to Babs One Diva for coming through. Big up to Carrot Ball, back on. Big up yourself. And guys, listen, we got 2 streams today. So obviously you got one now and then one at 2:30. So yeah, I'll be looking to wrap this up around 1:45, 2 o'clock, just so I can, get something to eat, and then obviously be back on at 2:30, which will be another good one. And obviously Champions League football tonight. I was trying to do a watch along tonight, but I won't have time to do a watch along as I'm going to be out. So I'll probably catch the football as I get back. So yeah, man, it is what it is. But listen, I thought I'd give you guys two streams today. And again, as always, make sure when you come through, you guys are smashing the like button. You guys are sharing it on your socials as well. And again, make sure you sub to the channel if you're new in here as well. Big up to my guy Fitz each and every time as well for coming through. And guys, keep your questions and comments coming through. And as I said, I will definitely get back to them once obviously I've finished discussing what I've had to say, really, because this one I'm going to enjoy. And and again, for me, it's going to be interesting to talk about Kobbie Mainoo, because Kobbie Mainoo, is a player that's come through our academy, and as United have been throughout history, throughout the years, we always do protect our younger players, especially if you've come, straight through the youth academy, not from coming abroad. When you've come straight through the youth academy, born and bred in the country, United do often look after their players, and I thought it was important for me to do this stream purely because, there has been some talk about Kobbie Mainoo. You have some fans saying Kobbie isn't as good as what people think he is. He's not as good as what the media have made him out to be. Amarim was right to drop him. Kobbie's not athletic. Kobbie's, he takes too long on the ball. All this kind of nonsense that I've been seeing, really. So I thought, what better way, then would it be to do a comparison with Kobbie Mainoo and two midfielders that I think the majority of fans would earmark as being two of England's probably best ever central midfielders, or definitely amongst them, in Paul Scholes and Steven Gerrard. And the reason I wanted to do this comparison, and again, just so people understand where I'm coming from on this, this isn't to say that Kobbie Mainoo is going to be better than Paul Scholes or Steven Gerrard in the future, because again, we just don't know how Kobbie's career is going to go. Kobbie could, obviously touch wood, he doesn't pick up a serious injury. And again, it could be down to form. It could be down to how Manchester United are performing. All these factors could... Sorry, 1 second. What's this? So I just see some news from Messi. Just reading it now. Yeah, sorry. So a lot of these things, could be down to injury, could be down to, form, etc. But just from what I've seen of Kobbie Mainoo, I've got no worries about his potential. Whereas I think a lot of people are just trying to force the Kobbie Mainoo criticism, in my opinion, you know. And I definitely do think this is something to keep an eye on for other fans. And again, I'm going to go through Kobbie Mainoo, you know, making his debut for Manchester United, obviously from the age of 18 up until now. And I think what people need to realize is, you know, some of the greats that have played in this country, obviously English players like Paul Scholes and Steven Gerrard, you know, as I said, they're two of the players that many people around the world, or many people in this country, would say that, you know, they're two of England's best central midfielders, you know. And I'm going to give you the comparison of Kobbie at their age. Big up to I Am Titanium as well. So let's go on to it, guys. Yeah, and obviously keep your questions and comments coming through. So Kobbie Mainoo at 18, and I've written down quite a few notes on there as well. So Kobbie at 18, guys, yeah, made his debut for United at 17. You know, from the age of 17, you know, he had 35 plus senior appearances, 3 senior appearances, and 3 senior goals. Yeah, became an England international as well. Obviously, as everyone knows, Kobbie starting in that semi-final and the final of the Euros. A pass completion rate averaging there 90%. Now, again, what's important to notice from these, and again, these are just notes that I've put down. Yeah, obviously, when people say about his passing completion, you know, we have to take it into account. Is it short passes? Is it longer distance passes? You know, the way Kobbie plays, you know, Kobbie keeps the ball ticking over. You know, a lot of short little passes. You know, and that's why his pass completion will be high in the 90s. You know, but again, sometimes just playing simple is the hardest thing to do, which actually sounds weird, yeah. But again, at the age of 17, he made his debut for Manchester United. Went on to have 35 plus senior appearances and made his debut for England as well. Now we go on to Paul Scholes, who for me is not only one of my favorite Manchester United players ever. You know, we have to say, as a pundit, he's terrible. You know, he's one of the worst pundits out there, especially when he was on Sky Sports. But in terms of Paul Scholes, the player, there's no argument there. Yeah. But let's look at Paul Scholes in comparison to Kobbie Mainoo at the same age. So Paul Scholes made his debut for Manchester United at 19. So again, Kobbie made his debut at 17. Paul Scholes was nowhere near the first team. Now, again, just before people say, you know, how can you compare Scholes to Kobbie Mainoo? Again, I'm not comparing them, but I'm comparing the trajectory in terms of where Kobbie is at now, and in the comparison to what Scholes and obviously Gerrard were at a similar age. Now, people could argue and say Kobbie's coming into an era of football where it's a lot easier. You know, again, I do believe the era of football now isn't as good as the era before. What I would say though, this is a very much an athlete's game. So Kobbie, the kind of player that he is, you know, he's not an athlete like an Anthony Elanga, for example. Yeah. So he is coming into a first team where, you know, he's not someone that is blessed with pace like that, you know. So it is a bit of a different kind of thing we're looking at. But so yeah, you can make the comparison that that Kobbie might have come into a different era, which might have been easier for him to get game time at a younger age. But again, so Scholes made his debut for United at 19. And again, I remember watching Paul Scholes, you know, when he made his debut, you know, that bright ginger hair. You know, if anyone doesn't remember, Paul Scholes was playing as part of a strike force. You know, he was playing in the 2 and was getting goals from there. So 0 senior appearances at 18. At 18, he was playing for the youth and the reserve team. And obviously he was playing for the England under 18s. Yeah. So if you look at a comparison from Scholes at 18 to Kobbie was a senior England international at the age of 18. You know, he had 35 plus games from before making his debut at 17, whereas Scholes was playing for England at the under 18 stage and was in the reserves and the youth team at the age of 18 before making his debut at 19. Then we move on to Steven Gerrard. Yeah. So Gerrard made his debut for Liverpool at 18, 13 senior appearances, just like Paul Scholes was playing for the England under-18s. Yeah. So Gerrard again was used mainly as a utility player, playing right back, even sometimes on the wing as well. Obviously, before he eventually found his way into central midfield. And obviously, you probably say in his prime years was playing as a number 10 behind Fernando Torres. You know, scored his first senior goal, Gerrard, at 19. Yeah. So just going on to the comparison between Kobbie, Paul Scholes, and Gerrard. And again, this isn't to say that Kobbie Mainoo is going to have the same career of Scholes and Gerrard. But for me, it's important to have a look at, you know, the pathway that Kobbie's had at 18 in comparison to Scholes and Gerrard. And there's no doubt in that Kobbie Mainoo's career at 18 is far superior to what Gerrard and Scholes were doing at that age, whether people like it or not. Yeah. Then we're going to move on, yeah, to a couple of opinions from, you know, ex-Manchester United players. Now, again, when these ex-players talk, I couldn't give a damn, to be honest with you. These guys were top footballers, but they're some of the worst pundits in the game right now. And a lot of them, they just do for clicks, or they do because they're told what to say, in a sense, yeah? But I did pick out two from Paul Scholes and from Rio Ferdinand. So Paul Scholes actually said, Kobbie Mainoo is 10 times the player he was at 19. His calmness, his awareness, and the ability to receive the ball under pressure. Now, again, receiving the ball under pressure, guys, is a very underrated skill. I think if you really love your football and you really, you know, watch football for the beauty of the game, I don't think people deep how important it is to receive the ball under pressure. You know, and someone like myself, the way that I play, I used to love receiving the ball under pressure because it allows you to use, you know, your strength, your skill, your ability to get out of tight situations. And that is something that Kobbie Mainoo, yeah, has in abundance. The way Kobbie can receive the ball in any part of the pitch, you know, these things are underrated. And the only way that you can kind of get yourself out of, I would say, tough situations from playing like that is having the ability and the composure, you know. And as I said, receiving the ball under pressure is an underrated skill, just not just in football, but it's just worldwide in terms of how people see the game, you know, because being under pressure just in life in general is an underrated skill, you know, and especially in football, you know, where you've got probably a player that might be arguably stronger than you, you know, and you have to hold them off, you know, making sure your touch is on point. You might have someone coming around the front to nick the ball as well. So again, these things are underrated. And this is one thing that you can just watch Kobbie's game and see that he's got that in his game from early. And that's something that Paul Scholes noted out as well. Rio Ferdinand says a man's strength, and he's got a man's strength and technical composure that Scholes lacked at the same age during his development and his press resistant. So again, press resistant, ball under pressure is very much similar. Being able to take the ball in tight situations when a man's breathing down your neck and you've got the possibility of someone coming around the front to nick the ball. You know, as I said, these things are not really spoken about as much. And if you look at all the top players to ever play the game, the top players in the world, these guys are all press resistant. Lionel Messi, Luka Modric, Karim Benzema, Andres Iniesta, you know, Zidane, Ronaldinho. Like, the list is endless. These guys are press resistant players, you know. And again, you can only be press resistant if you have a great first touch. And that's something that Kobbie has. So the fact that Rio Ferdinand and Paul Scholes, again, two guys that I don't really listen to in the first place, but the fact that they've picked out those things just shows you that what Kobbie's about. And I think what it is with Kobbie as well, yeah, I think people try to pin Kobbie with quite a lot of the similar players that they rate. You know, when you're comparing Kobbie, just compare Kobbie for what he does, not what you want him to be. You know, because I think, you know, and I spoke about him before, I think for some reason Declan Rice seems to be the measuring stick in terms of central midfielders in this country. You know, which just tells you how bad the game is. And again, I'm gonna read you out some of the things from this season as well, which lets you know, why is it that Declan Rice why is Declan Rice the measuring stick that a lot of players have to be more or less measured up to, and for me, it's nothing short of how football's being played in this country. Declan Rice fits the narrative in what this country, in terms of how football's seen, and the fact that Kobbie is so composed for someone that's so young on the ball, the fact that he is press resistant, the fact that he can, keep the ball, retain possession, this is a country in terms of football that don't really respect that, but if you look at Kobbie playing in put it this way, Spain right now are what, the European champions, yeah? Who would they respect more as a footballer, Kobbie Mainoo or Declan Rice? The answer is obvious. It'll be Kobbie Mainoo, because Kobbie Mainoo is very adept at keeping the ball, and as I said, Declan Rice fits the criteria for a lot of fans in this country in terms of, an athlete. Now, again, I'm going to go on to, this is per 90 this season, yeah? And when I was going through this, yeah, it made me, I looked at this and I said, the fact that people seem to think that Declan Rice is the measuring stick, it doesn't actually make sense, because, and I'm going to go through this as well, yeah, to make you guys understand. So Titanium says, people in this country don't appreciate a player of Kobbie's character. There's a clip of Spain manager in the Euros final giving his players special instructions on how to stop him. Yeah, big up, I am Titanium. And this is what I'm trying to say, man. Like, this is a flaw with the country. And I've been talking about this for years. How this country perceives football. And the reason I talk about this, yeah, is because I was at the receiving end of this, As I said before, for those of you that don't know, obviously I was in Chelsea and Tottenham's academy up until the age of 18, where I was more or less denied by the system in terms of how this country saw football. Because the very fact that, a lot of players that were getting chosen, really, it was more about an athlete, more about them being an athlete and running. And that was what it was. And the fact of the matter is, the fact that Kobbie's getting the criticism that he's getting now, he's basically a symptom of his own quality. Because the fact that people talk about what he does off the ball rather than on the ball, it just shows you how football is being perceived in this country. You know what I mean? And as I said, like, if he's getting teams like Spain that are trying to think of a way to stop him, it doesn't really surprise me, because just look at the kind of quality that Spain have had in their midfield or have in their midfield now. You think of back in years gone by, yeah, the midfielders that these guys have that are either press resistant or just pure quality. Xabi Alonso, Xavi Hernandez, Busquets, Thiago Alcantara, Marcos Senna. Now they've got Pedri, Fabian Ruiz. If you want to throw Zubamendi in there, Rodri. I mean, look at the kind of quality of players that they have in central midfield. It's not really rocket science to think that they will be looking at a Kobbie Mainoo as someone that they've got to stop, because they can see the way Kobbie plays would fit into their system easily. Yeah. But anyway, let's get on. Let me carry on before I go on to your questions and comments. And guys, make sure you're smashing the likes. Make sure you are subbing to the channel. Make sure you're sharing the channel as well. So I'm going to get on to, I'm going to compare, I've compared 4 players, yeah? Because I think these 4 players are regarded in terms of central midfielders, probably the 4 best in the league, or the 4, the big names, Casemiro should be there really, but it's Rodri, Declan Rice, Moises Caicedo, and Kobbie Mainoo, yeah? Or obviously, well, Kobbie's the comparison with Declan Rice, Caicedo, and Rodri. Now, although for me, Caicedo and Rodri are clearly the better player when it comes to those 3. When it comes to Rodri, Caicedo, and Rice, Rodri's better than Caicedo. Rodri's better than Rice, sorry, and Caicedo's better than Rice as well. Now, if you look at some of the defensive stats. And again, this is something that Kobbie often gets criticized for, because there's no point going on to the attacking stats, because we know how quality Kobbie is with his attacking. Yeah. But I thought, let me have a look at his defensive stats this season per 90. Yeah. And it will tell you that the criticism that he gets is just being forced. And we all know why that is. Yeah. I haven't really got to spell it out to you, but you guys should work out what's been running at this club for years. And I've been talking about this for time. Yeah. So interceptions, Declan Rice, 0.8. Rodri, 1.1. And again, Rodri's ones will be a bit different, guys, because Rodri, obviously, as you know, has been out injured for the majority of the season. But if he was fit, Rodri, you know, his numbers will be a lot higher than what it is now. But we can only base it off what we've got at the moment, yeah? So Declan Rice, 0.8. Rodri, 1.1. Moises Caicedo, 1.6. Kobbie Mainoo, 2.2. So again, interceptions, yeah? Kobbie leads the interceptions when it comes between himself, Declan Rice, Moises Caicedo, and Rodri. And the reason why I mentioned those three, as I said, because these three are earmarked as being the best midfielders in the league. Yeah. So to think that Kobbie Mainoo has a better interception rate than all three of them, but yet you've got fans out there that are saying, you know, Kobbie's not the answer, Kobbie's not good enough. Again, this is just people just overdoing it and trying to force their nonsense on a player for other reasons, in my opinion. Because when you just look at the player Kobbie and you look at the stats, you'll realize that what people are saying about Kobbie is just nonsense, and it's being fueled by other fans that don't know what they're talking about. It's that simple, yeah? Now, the reason why I've earmarked interceptions, yeah, because interceptions for me shows intelligence, you know, and the fact that Kobbie Mainoo heads the interception in terms of him and Rice, Caicedo, and Rodri, again, is not really a surprise. Just look at the way Kobbie plays. Kobbie's not a rushed player. You know, Kobbie plays with a lot of composure on the ball, you know, and the fact that he's got the most interceptions, it shows that, you know, he's a thinker, you know, because intercepting the ball is about thinking, knowing where your opponent might pass the ball and just stepping in and just stopping the ball from reaching its target. Yeah. And that's something that Kobbie does consistently and is highlighted in how good he is at 2.2. The very fact that Declan Rice is at 0.8, again, doesn't surprise me, because why is Declan Rice at 0.8? Because Declan Rice is more of an all-action, all-energy kind of player. You know, he isn't smart like a Kobbie. He's not smart like a Caicedo or a Rodri in that respect, because his game's all about energy, you know, and the fact that he's bottom of the pile, again, is not really a surprise. Yeah. Then we go on to tackles won. Yeah. Rodri again, you know, Rodri has been out injured, so his numbers would look a lot better. But I'm going to read them out anyway. 1.4 for Rodri, 1.6 for Kobbie, 1.8 for Declan Rice, 3.3 for Moises Caicedo. So again, the notion in this country is that Declan Rice is the outstanding midfielder in this country, yeah? So for interceptions, he's in defensive actions, yeah? He's bottom between those four. For tackles won, he's second. Now, again, you would expect Declan Rice to have a high tackle percentage purely because of the way that he plays, yeah? He's always, obviously, as I said, high energy, flying into tackles, etc. And you know, when you assimilate tackles, you assimilate that with Declan Rice. So again, it's not really a surprise, you know. But to think that Kobbie is someone that's not known for his tackling, you know, 1.6 to 1.8 really is nothing. 1.8 to 3.3 is a massive margin. And again, there's people out there that would think that Declan Rice is better than Moises Caicedo. But as you can see, when it comes to interceptions and tackles won, Moises Caicedo clears him on both of them. That's the fact, yeah? And by a huge way as well on both of them, yeah? Ball recoveries, yeah? Which, again, you know, you would probably say that Declan Rice, in terms of his ball recoveries, that would be probably one of his strongest assets, really. in terms of the energy that he puts into the game, you know. But again, we're going to run through it. Now, bearing in mind, yeah, that Rodri, again, I will say he has been out for a long part of the season. Yeah. To think that you've got Rodri still up there is crazy. Big up to Foxy Danny as well. Big up yourself. So let's go through it. So ball recoveries. So Rodri, 4.8%. Kobbie Mainoo, 5.2%. Declan Rice, 5.3%. Moises Caicedo, 5.4%. Yeah. So again, you can clearly see, yeah, that Moises Caicedo is arguably the best midfielder in this league, as what I've been saying for years anyway. No, well, not for years, but as what I've been saying over the last couple of seasons. He's clearly the best midfielder in this league. For me, it's him and Rodri. I think him and Rodri, when Rodri's back fit, they're the two best central midfielders in this league, no doubt. Yeah. And as I said, man, I think, as I said, for me, sorry, guys, I just seen a comment. Yeah. And I will get back to your comments after, because you know what it is? When people come in with comments, it's like there's no kind of what they call it, explanation, because all you've seen is a title without actually watching the actual and Karen, don't worry, I'll get back to you. Let me just finish off this bit and then we can get into it. You know, don't worry, I haven't forgotten. I will get back to you, man. So again, tackles 1, 5.2 for Kobbie, ball recoveries, 5.2 for Kobbie, 5.3 for Rice, 5.4 for Caicedo, and the 4.8 for Rodri. And obviously Rodri's been out injured, yeah. So Caicedo clearly clears all of them. You know, he's heading literally the majority of the stats. Declan Rice obviously is only close behind him in 5.3, but then Kobbie is just close behind him in 5.2. Now, people would have you believe that Kobbie, you know, is either not good enough, but when it comes to the defensive stats, he's better Declan Rice on interceptions. He's only just behind him on tackles 1, which ain't his game. And on ball recoveries, he's just behind Declan Rice, which Declan Rice, ball recoveries and stuff like that, you would expect. And again, Declan Rice is more of a defensive player than what Kobbie is anyway. Yeah. Let's move on to ground duels. Yeah. Let's move on to ground duels. Now, the ground duels one's very interesting, because if you think of Kobbie being the youngest out of all 4 of them, you know, someone that's still trying to learn the game as well, you know, you wouldn't really expect someone with the, I mean, he has got experience for his age, Kobbie, don't get me wrong, but you wouldn't really expect Kobbie to be up there when it comes to ground duels, really, you know. But the ground duels read like this, guys. Declan Rice, 48%. Kobbie Mainoo, 53%. Rodri, 55%. Moises Caicedo, 56%. So again, Kobbie, Rodri, and Caicedo are all clearing the 50% mark in terms of ground duels. Yeah, you probably would have expected Declan Rice to have a better ground duel than what he's showing, to be fair. And the reason I like doing things like this, guys, yeah, whether people like it or not, yeah, is that there's too much talk around certain players are not good enough. But what is it actually based on? Because when I watch Kobbie Mainoo, there's no one that can say Kobbie Mainoo isn't a supreme footballer, because he's a top footballer. He's one of England's best natural footballers. You can just see that, yeah? But I like to delve into how he's performing up against players that are rated highly in this league. Now, as I said, attacking wise, in terms of a pure footballer, you know, if I'm mentioning someone like Declan Rice is nowhere near Kobbie Mainoo as a pure footballer. But where you think Declan Rice will edge Kobbie Mainoo is defensive stats. The fact that Kobbie and Declan Rice, there's nothing in it really between their defensive stats, you know, might actually surprise some people. you know. So, but again, Moises Caicedo clears it all. He's literally top in tackles, ball recoveries, and ground duels. Yeah, and obviously Kobbie heads the interceptions. Yeah. Then we go to clearances. Now, the reason why this clearance one is fascinating, yeah, and it's good, because if I was to ask you guys in the chat before I read it out, yeah, who would you guys say is top of the clearances? Kobbie Mainoo, Declan Rice, Caicedo, or Rodri? Guys, put that in the chat and let me know who you think is top of the clearances. Because these things are interesting, and it makes sense as to why, you know, players are top in certain things. Yeah. So guys, let me know in the chat who you think is top of the clearances. So I am Titanium says Kobbie. And by the way, yeah, I'm not trying to make it seem as if this clearance stat is actually a positive, by the way. And I'll tell you why. Because we all know what a clearance is. It means, it's in the name, clearing your lines. It means just booting the ball out of play or booting it out of danger. So yeah, in the chat, let me know who you think before I tell you guys, and then we'll go back onto the comparisons with Kobbie. So Fitz says Kobbie in clearances. Okay, I'll tell you guys again, yeah. When it's clearances, it means just clearing your lines, yeah, which means that a lot of the time, if your defense are under pressure, yeah, then you're just going to clear your lines, and obviously you're a bit more defensively set up. Big up to I Am Titanium, because he has changed his mind, and you're right, yeah. So you've got clearances: Kobbie 0.8, Rodri 1.0, Caicedo 1.2, Declan Rice 1.4. Now I'll tell you why this is key, yeah, because this just tells you, yeah, it tells you about Arsenal for one, and it tells you about Declan Rice's game. The fact that Kobbie is bottom of clearances is a good thing, because Kobbie is not a guy that just wants to clear his lines. He wants to put his foot on the ball and keep the ball moving, yeah, which is why he's bottom. The fact right next to him at in third place is Rodri at 1.0. Again, you can see the way that Man City want to play, which Rodri is a player that wants to play with the ball on the floor. Caicedo is not that far at 1.2, yeah, and then you've got Declan Rice that leads it. And as I said, that just tells you everything, that the way Arsenal play, you know, very defensively solid, the way they're set up, and clearances, as I said, means, yeah, that Kobbie wants to keep the ball. Rodri wants to keep the ball. You would say Caicedo's a bit in between, but you would say Declan Rice leads it for clearances. And again, that's not really a surprise with the way that Declan Rice plays. Yeah. So guys, I'll go through that again before we carry on with, I'm going to go through some of your questions and comments, and then we're going to carry on the comparison with Kobbie, Scholes, and Gerrard. Yeah. So in terms of interceptions, yeah, Kobbie Mainoo heads it at 2.2. In second place is Caicedo with 1.6. In third place is Rodri with 1.1. And in last place is Declan Rice. Yeah. Tackles won. In first place, Moises Caicedo 3.3. Declan Rice in second at 1.8. Kobbie in third at 1.6. Rodri in fourth at 1.4. Ball recoveries. Caicedo in first at 5.4. Declan Rice in second at 5.3. Kobbie in third at 5.2. Rodri in third at 4.8. Ground duels. Yeah. Caicedo in first at 56%. Rodri in second at 55%. Kobbie in third at 53%. Declan Rice in fourth at 48%. Clearances. Yeah. Declan Rice in third place at 1.4. Caicedo second at 1.2. Rodri in third at 1.0. And then Kobbie in fourth at 0.8. Now, again, just so you guys, some of you that might have just joined, Rodri has been out injured, so his stats might look a bit different. Yeah. And in terms of the the 5 different segments in terms of the interceptions, tackles won, ball recoveries, ground duels, and clearances. Yeah. The reason I mentioned clearances is because clearances is just clearing your line, and that's a lot. That's a lot to do with how your team is set up. Yeah, which for me isn't really seen as a positive. Really, interceptions, ball recoveries, ground duels, tackles won. Yeah, we can look at that, and you can clearly see that Caicedo heads a lot of it, but you can clearly see as well that Kobbie is equal or not even that far behind in terms of some of the other players that are regarded as the best in the Premier League. Not to mention, we all know that isn't Kobbie's game anyway. Yeah. So let's go on to some of your questions and comments, guys. Make sure you are smashing the likes, subbing to the channel, and sharing the channel as well. So Karen says Kobbie is nowhere near Scholes or Gerrard. Yeah. Now, again, I knew someone would come in and say this, and the thing for me is that when people come in and say Kobbie is nowhere near Scholes or Gerrard, to even compare them doesn't make sense. Yeah. And again, I'm guessing that Karan's missed the first part of the stream, because no one's comparing Kobbie, Scholes, or Gerrard. Like it doesn't make sense. But again, I'll run through with what I'm doing anyway. Yeah. Bro, you're picking up stats, but when it comes to Bruno, the stats don't matter. Mainoo is slow and a one-trick pony. Again, big up Karen for coming through. But Karen, you need to understand what's going on here, yeah? Because when I'm not comparing stats with Kobbie, yeah. What I'm doing, yeah, is that when you've got people that think Declan Rice is the best midfielder in the league, you know, when we know it's Caicedo and Rodri, yeah, I'm comparing Kobbie with Rice, Caicedo, and Rodri in terms of defensive actions, because Kobbie's not known for his defensive work, yeah. Because just watching Kobbie, you know what a top player Kobbie is. But when I'm comparing his defensive actions, you can kind of see that the criticism that Kobbie's getting is unjust and it doesn't make sense. It's just being forced. That's why I'm doing a comparison. So again, I'm not talking about stats. I'm doing a comparison in defensive actions for some of the players that are regarded as the best in the league. Yeah. And again, yeah, I'm not talking about Bruno Fernandes. Like, if you like Bruno Fernandes, that's cool. I don't rate Bruno Fernandes. He's overrated, and it's as simple as that. You know what I mean? So you ain't gonna change my mind. You know what I mean? He's overrated. It's that simple, man. Big up to Naeem, says, hi, bro. How are you? Long time no see. Do you know Man United has 2% of winning Premier League? Yeah, listen, we're not winning Premier League, man. Man City will win that for me. Best thing we can do is get Champions League football, and then we can go next season with some signings and some departures. That is the main thing for me. Declan has played every game of the league. Mainoo ain't even played much. I expect his stats to be higher playing in front of Casemiro. Again, doesn't make sense. Doesn't make sense. This is per 90 minutes. Yeah. So again, like, I can see what you're doing. You don't rate Kobbie Mainoo. That's cool, man. But lying on Kobbie's name, yeah, or just trying to prop up other players, yeah, is poor, really, man. You know what I mean? So let's do better there. Come on. Mainoo is the same guy who was missing against Grimsby Town. I'm guessing Karen doesn't like Kobbie Mainoo then. You know, Mainoo ain't even played 15 games this season. So him coming in after halfway through the season, his stats are going to be naturally higher playing. No, it's not. Like that's nonsense. I'm talking about per 90 minutes. So when he's played, yeah, per 90 minutes. That's what I'm talking about. It's not in comparison to how many games Declan Rice is playing. And just based on that anyway, if Declan Rice has played more games, his stats should be higher. So what are you talking about? Don't make sense. Yeah. He's technically good, but has a lot to improve. Bro, every player needs to improve. What are we doing? Every player needs to improve. Like, it isn't just solely focused on Kobbie Mainoo, but I think what you're doing is that you've got a personal problem with Kobbie Mainoo for whatever reason. And I think it's clouding your judgment, really, because some of the stuff you're coming out with has no he got injured. Yeah, some of the stuff you're coming out with doesn't really make any sense, because you know, you're saying that that Kobbie's not better than Scholes and Gerrard, even though that's not the comparison we're doing. So yeah, man, I think you just need to relax a little bit, man, and just give Kobbie some leeway, man, because it's massively false, man, what's going on with Kobbie Mainoo. Naming Mainoo alongside those legends is uncalled for. African will never unite, yeah? Tell me why it's uncalled for. Tell me why it's uncalled for, because it's easy saying comments, man, but explain your comment for me, please. Why is it uncalled for? Do you actually know the comparison I'm doing? Or are you just putting in chat for the sake of it? Let us know, man. Let us know. Because you've only just turned up, and again, you're not even, yeah. Juan Roman Riquelme is better than Kobbie Mainoo. Yeah, again, this is an idiotic comment, and I'll tell you why it's an idiotic comment, yeah? Juan Roman Riquelme was a top player, but Juan Roman Riquelme was a number 10, yeah? Kobbie's been playing as a 6 and an 8, yeah? And again, why are we comparing Riquelme to Mainoo? Where's that come from? So listen, I don't know what's going on there, but let's do better, man. Let's do better than that. But anyway, let's get back on to what we was talking about. So for those of you that have just joined, yeah, this isn't a Kobbie better than Scholes and Gerrard. That won't make any sense. Kobbie's still got his career ahead of him. Gerrard and Scholes have retired, yeah. But what I'm doing is a comparison of Kobbie at 18, Scholes and Gerrard at 18, and then we're going to move on to 19, and then we're going to move on to 20. So I want you guys to look at the comparison of when them players were at the same age in comparison to what Kobbie's doing. Yeah. Now, just for those of you that did miss it, Kobbie made his debut at 17 for United. You know, 35 senior appearances, 3 senior goals, and England senior international as well. Pass completion rate averaging at 90%. Paul Scholes at 18 didn't make his debut for United until he was 19. Was playing for the England under-18s with 0 senior appearances at 18, and was playing at 18 for United's youth and reserves. Yeah? Steven Gerrard at 18 didn't make his debut for Liverpool until he was 18, 13 senior appearances, was playing just like Paul Scholes for the England under-18s. Yeah? Also, Gerrard was used as a utility player. And again, I watched Gerrard when he was coming through, playing right back, sometimes on the wing, before he found himself as a central midfield player. Yeah? So, scored his first senior goal, Gerrard as well, at 19. So again, it's about understanding what the topic is. Yeah? Kobbie Mainoo, whether people like it or not, as an 18-year-old, was ahead of his career than what Scholes and Gerrard were. And Scholes and Gerrard Scholes has actually admitted that Kobbie is 10 times the player of himself at the same age. Yeah. So whether people like it or not, yeah, like these are just the facts. Kobbie at 18 was ahead of Gerrard and Scholes at the same age. That isn't to say that Gerrard and that Kobbie is better than Gerrard and Scholes. That isn't the argument. So you need to understand before coming in there and just chatting. Yeah. So again, let's move on to Kobbie at 19, Gerrard at 19, and Scholes at 19. Yeah. So Kobbie at 19. Yeah. Just under 94 senior appearances for United. Where is it? 10 caps for England. Yeah. And so I've got it in my notes. Yeah. So Kobbie at 19, just under 94 senior appearances for Man United and 10 caps for England. Paul Scholes at 19, 25 senior appearances for Man United, 7 goals, still playing for the England under-18s, made his senior debut for England at 22. Yeah? Steven Gerrard at 19, guys. 41 senior appearances for Germany, for Liverpool. 1 goal. Was playing for the England under-21s. Made his senior debut at 20 for the England national team. Yeah. So just again, Kobbie at 19, guys. Yeah. Started a major European final. You know, scored the winning goal in the FA Cup as well, 2024. You know, holds the record for United as the youngest goal and assist in Europe. Paul Scholes at 19 wasn't a guaranteed starter for United. Gerrard at 19 scored his first senior goal against Sheffield Wednesday. Yeah. So again, Kobbie Mainoo at 18 and 19 is well ahead of what Gerrard and Scholes were doing at the same age. Yeah. And the reason I bring this up is because I want to understand why people have the criticism of Kobbie. What is the criticism? What is it that you don't like about Kobbie Mainoo? You know, you got Karan saying that he's basically a Tesco value Seedorf. Will have 2 great games out of 10. Again, that's nonsense, yeah. And again, that is just for me, this borders on there's a personal issue. You know, if I'm gonna criticize a player, yeah, I'll tell you what I don't rate about them. But Karan, what you're doing, yeah, you're just trying to insult the guy without really having anything based on why you don't rate Kobbie Mainoo. You know, because you can't come on there and say Kobbie ain't a good footballer, because he is. Yeah. So what is it that you don't actually like about Kobbie? Like, let us know. What did he steal your girl? What's going on? Because it don't make sense, man. He's a Tesco value Seedorf. 2 great games out of 10. What do you deem as having a great game? That's what I want to know. That's what I want to know. You know what I mean? Let us know, man, because I'm reading out facts here. You know, this is not made up. This is facts. So I don't understand, man, why the hate for Kobbie. Yeah. Let's go on to Kobbie, Scholes, and Gerrard at 20. So Kobbie at 20, 90% pass completion, 4 seasons in United's first team. Played a key role in Euro 2024. Yeah. Steven Gerrard at 20, just completed his first full season for Liverpool. He was a sub at Euro 2000 and then made his debut after his 20th birthday. Paul Scholes at 20, just broke into United's first team. And as I said, didn't make his debut for England until he was 22. Yeah. So again, guys, these are just facts. You know, whether people want to agree to it or not. Yeah. So it's clear to see, yeah, that Kobbie at the same age, when he was at the same age he is now, from 18, has had a better career already than what Gerrard and Scholes were doing. Again, this isn't to say that he's going to be better than Scholes than Gerrard, but I like to understand why people have the criticism for Kobbie Mainoo. You know, the way that I see it, yeah, and whether people like this or not, the reason that I believe Kobbie Mainoo gets the criticism from Manchester United fan base right now is the same reason Paul Pogba got the criticism. It's the same reason Martial got the criticism. It's the same reason why Marcus Rashford all of a sudden started getting it, even though we all knew Rashford wasn't that player anyway. It's the same reason why Fred got criticism. The same reason why Eric Bailly, Malacia, why he got criticized the other day. Work it out for yourself, guys. Odion Igalo. There's a running theme within this Manchester United fan base as to who gets criticized. You know, people don't want to call it out, but I'll call it out every day. And I've been saying this for time. You know, big up to Fitz as well. It's the same reason why Andy Cole was overlooked. Same reason. Andy Cole was even overlooked by myself because Glenn Hoddle tried to run this whole, you know, Andy Cole needs 4 chances before he scores a goal, which is nonsense. You know, and this is what people do. People try to pull the wool over people's eyes to make them think that a lot of these players are either not good, you know, or, you know, they're just players that we need to get rid of. That's what's going on. And people don't want to hear the truth, unfortunately. But you're going to get the truth on here, man. Because the criticism that Kobbie's getting, bearing in mind, you know, as I mentioned before, you've got two players in Scholes and Gerrard who are rated as two of England's best midfielders. Yeah? Cool. Kobbie at 18, 19 and 20 is having a better career than both of them. Facts. They're the facts. You can like it or not, but they're the facts. Yeah? Now, how Kobbie's career goes from here on now, a lot of it is going to be down to, as I say, can Kobbie stay fit? You know, can Kobbie, can Kobbie go on? You know, can he move his career on? I believe he can. You know, there's even fans out there, you know, that were saying that, you know, we need to move Kobbie Mainoo on. Like, there's fans literally out there saying that Kobbie needs to be moved on. Obviously, Karen being one of them. You know what I mean? Doesn't make sense to me. Again, if you don't rate Kobbie Mainoo and you've got a decent conversation to have, then let's have it, man. But a lot of what I'm seeing is that a lot of it's forced. You know, I just done the comparison with three midfielders that are rated as the best midfielders in the league. He actually tops the stats over all three of them. Just saying, man. Just saying. But again, this is people for you, though, isn't it? You have to be Zidane to impress this fan base. But even that, man, even that won't work, because this fan base don't like footballers. It's obvious. These fan base champion hard work because it makes them feel closer to them. I've said this for time. They'll champion players that get around the pitch because these guys don't understand football. That's the facts. That's the facts. You know what I mean? Because I'll give an example, yeah, and I bring it back to Fred, yeah. Fred wasn't no world beater by any means, yeah. But Fred was a valuable player, yeah. To think that Fred got the criticism that he got from the fan base, you know, and Manuel Ugarte all of a sudden now is starting to get criticism. It either shows one or two things, yeah. It either shows that Fred was getting the criticism because of his race, or these fans are just picking and choosing at what point they want to start going after players. I told you Manuel Ugarte when we first bought him was shit. It wasn't a surprise. But all of a sudden now, it's cool to say that Ugarte's shit. He's always been shit. But to think that Ugarte was given more grace than Fred was actually a goal threat, you know. Even though Fred on the ball wasn't great, but Fred always wanted the ball. And then all of a sudden, you know, we're meant to believe that Ugarte is better than Fred. And now these people are now backtracking, saying that Ugarte is shit now. It's the same reason why we told you that Garnacho was shit, Rasmus Højlund. You know what I mean? There's no bias into protecting certain players, but a lot of fans are just trying to stick with certain players because really and truly, it's not about if they think these players are good or not. We all know what it's about. And it's a sad state of affairs, man, to see how football's going like this, you know. Well, this is what we're in, unfortunately. You see it now with them starting Foden. He's done nothing in an England shirt. But the thing is, I rate Foden as a footballer. Like, I do rate Foden, yeah. But Foden for me, yeah, he's probably the prime example of what we're talking about here, yeah. Because Foden, the footballer, I've got time for. But there's no doubt in here that Foden's career hasn't gone the way that many would have predicted. But Foden is going to be getting protected for as long as he's at Manchester City in this country. And that isn't based off of, you know, Foden the footballer. It's not. They're going to give him protection, and you know why that is. You know, because as a footballer, I've got time for Phil Foden because he's a very good footballer. Yeah. But no one can deny that Foden hasn't gone on what many predicted. But Foden is not getting spoken about for obvious reason. You know? If his name was Babatunde, I'm telling you now, Foden will be getting criticism. We all know that. We all know that. Like, let's not play about. We all know what's going on there. You know? But Foden is a good player, man. I do like Foden. But we all know why it's getting ignored, man. Let's be honest. Right, guys, yeah, we're going to wrap it up in 10 minutes. Obviously, I will be back at 2:30. This will be a good one, you know. So we're going to do our underrated 11 versus PR 11. I've got 3 spots that I'm trying. Oh, sorry, I've got 2 spots that I'm trying to fill for the PR 11, left back and centre back. You know, so if you guys have got any names, then let me know. Let me know. But I've got my list out already. Underrated versus PR 11. Yeah, guys, make sure you're smashing the like button as well. Do you know what, Fitz? I knew you'd say that, man. But I purposely didn't include him because I think, me personally, I think the praise that Van Dijk was getting earlier on in his career, you know, was fair for me personally. Yeah, it was fair, but I purposely didn't include VVD. But again, you guys will see my list anyway, because I'm gonna do I'm gonna put it on the builder as well, the lineup builder, and you guys can see. I'll do my underrated first, and I'll do my overrated, and I'll do my PR afterwards, and we'll compare each team. Thoughts on Wes Brown? You know what, Wes Brown. I mean, Wes Brown was a centre back, really. You know, obviously played right back, but again, Wes Brown was a decent defender. You know, am I gonna say Wes Brown was Danny Alves? No way, nowhere near him. Yeah, but Wes Brown was a decent squad member for Man United. You know, obviously was part of the Champions League winning team as well, the treble winning team. So yeah, listen, man, I rated Wes Brown. Like, he was someone that, you know, when you talk about like the perfect or the great squad players, he was definitely one of them. You know what I mean? So yeah, 100%, man. I rated Wes Brown. I rated Wes Brown. Wes over Virgil all day. I knew you'd say that, man. Boy, I wouldn't say Wes Brown over Van Dijk, man. If I'm honest, I have to be honest. Fitz, I have to be honest, man. Wes Brown was good, man, but he's not better than Van Dijk, man. Maybe the Van Dijk now, you know what I mean? But Van Dijk when he was in his prime, when Liverpool won the league, Champions League, nah, Van Dijk was good, man. I'm not gonna sit here and say he wasn't. That injury that he got has kind of taken him back, though. I would say that, man. 100%. Rio Stam Vidic Blanc. Yeah, listen, man. That's a 4, man. That's a 4. Listen, that's a 4. That is a 4. But listen, we've had some serious centre backs, man. We have some serious centre backs. Look at the all-time 11 that we was doing with Liverpool the other day. I was struggling, man. You know, we was getting in man like Daniel Agger. You know what I mean? Pally, Bruce, Brown, Evans. Yeah, I wouldn't. Oh, yeah, listen, some top names, man, but I wouldn't take Pallister, Bruce Brown, and Evans ahead of Van Dijk, man, in his prime. I wouldn't. Like, come on, man. Let's be honest. I wouldn't do that. Varane, yeah, Varane's a bad boy, man. Varane's a bad boy, no doubt. Again, another defender that didn't really get the ratings that he deserved, you know, in my opinion. Didn't get the ratings that he deserved for me. But yeah, it is what it is, isn't it? Yeah, listen, Fitz, man. I remember Pallister and Bruce, man. Don't get me wrong. Pallister and Bruce, man. You know what I mean? They were a good centre back partnership, but I'm not having Pallister and Bruce over Van Dijk, man. I just can't do that, bro. I can't do that. I can't do that, man. I'm still confused that, you know, Steve Bruce scored 19 Premier League goals. I mean, I want to believe that's not true, man. How can Steve Bruce get 19 Premier League goals, man? That is crazy, man. That is just madness. That is madness. But I've seen it. I've seen the stat. So it must be true. Oh, guys, yeah, make sure you go and vote on my my post I put up yesterday as well. Let me see. So if you guys haven't seen the post, Yeah, make sure you go and vote on there and let me know what you guys are thinking. One for the Arsenal fans, I would say, yeah. So I said, if Arsenal win the Premier League and Champions League double this season, does that make this squad better than the Invincibles? So good question. So it's locked in at the moment. So the answers were yes, the double over Invincibles. No, Invincibles are untouchable. Ask me in May, or too much pressure at the moment. So it's locked in at the moment. So yeah, if you guys get a chance, make sure you go and vote on that one. And let me know what you think. All right, Fitz, name me 10 centre backs, Dutch centre backs that are better than Van Dijk. You going for Ronald Koeman? What's his name? Danny Blind. You going for Danny Blind? Who else do they have? Holland centre backs. What was that guy's name? Khalid Boularus, Frank de Boer. Sammy Hippier better than Van Dijk, yeah? Boy, that's a big shout, you know. That is a big shout. That's a big shout. Now, I think it's tough to say. I mean, if you're talking about the Van Dijk now, then yeah. But the Van Dijk in his prime, I don't think you can say that these defenders are better than him. That's just me being honest, man. Does anyone watch UFC? You know what? I'm more UFC back in the day, man. Yeah, I'm more UFC back in the day. I have to be honest. I don't really watch it as much now, man. I'm literally out of touch with it now. I need to get back onto it though, for real. But guys, bear me 1 minute. I should go check something. Yeah, Charles Oliveira. Any fight? He's fighting someone soon. That Charles Oliveira. I swear he is. Fitz, I thought you meant centre backs. So Yap Stam, Frank de Boer, Ronald Koeman. Is that Danny or Daley Blind? Winston Bogard, Michael Reisiger, Van der Ven, Rijkaard. But again, we can't put Reisiger in there because Reisiger played the majority of his career at right back. Winston Bogard, I believe, played the majority of his career at full back as well. I think it was left back. Is that Daley Blind or Danny Blind? Oh, okay. So Oliveira beat Max Holloway, yeah? Okay. He beat Max Holloway. Yeah, I think Holloway's done now anyway. I mean, yeah, I mean, listen, Fitz, bro, I have to be honest, man. Yap Stam, I'm hearing it. Frank de Boer, yeah, I'm hearing it. Ronald Koeman, I'm hearing it. Bogard, Reisiger, they're fullbacks. Van der Ven, we can't say that yet. And Frank Rijkaard played the majority of his career as a DM, didn't he? So I'm looking at Stam, de Boer, Koeman as having an argument, if I'm honest, you know. Fitz, boy, you really don't like Van Dijk, man. You're coming like Karen. You're coming like Karen, man. I'm telling you. Big up Lumi Rain. Big up yourself. Yeah, Fitz, bro. You're coming like Karen, man. I can't lie, man. I can't lie. I mean, Karen's one was mad, to be fair. Trying to say that Kobbie's like Seedorf, like a Tesco value version of Seedorf. And then when he got the smoke, man, he went and hid. It's what these people do, man. It's what they do, unfortunately. Don't like the heat they get at the kitchen. Khabib and Islam Makhachev. Is Lewis Hall the best left back in the league? He's definitely one of them. I mean, is there an outstanding left back in the league right now? I mean, Nico O'Reilly's not a left back. He's actually a number 10 by trade. Obviously, has been playing left back, which just shows his versatility. You know what? It's difficult, man. To be fair, it is difficult to say who is the best left back in the league. Lewis Hall's definitely there, man. I mean, if we could get Lewis Hall, then we're onto something as the long-term replacement for Luke Shaw. That'd be mad, but I don't see that happening. And guys, let's not forget as well, yeah. Newcastle have Chelsea's fullbacks. Like, that is just crazy. Newcastle have Chelsea's fullbacks because Lewis Hall is actually a midfielder as well. Obviously now he's a left back, but Newcastle have Chelsea's fullbacks. Crazy. Livramento and Hall. Two guys that are England internationals that really and truly. I mean, you got Reece James, for me, the best right back in the world with Hakimi. And it's actually weird. You got those two squaring off against each other in the Champions League today or tomorrow. And then obviously you've got Cucurella. So they're actually good at fullback, really. But they've got two players, man, that were from their youth academy that are now two of the best fullbacks in England. Crazy, isn't it? Israel Adesanya, yeah. Adesanya, what's happened to him though? As I said, man, I'm out of touch with UFC at the moment. I ain't watched it for a little while, I'll be honest. All right, Lumi, what do you think of I mean, to be fair, I don't think there's any point asking you really, but what do you think of Arsenal against Southampton in the FA Cup? Do you reckon you guys get through it? I don't think City got any injuries as well. I think everyone's back fit. Everyone's fit. Right, guys, we're going to wrap it up in 5 minutes. And obviously, I'll be back at 2:30 for our underrated 11 versus the PR 11. Make sure you're there, guys, for this one. And give me your comments and questions as always. Oh, Adesanya's fighting next week. Okay. Who's Adesanya fighting? Carrot Ball. Lumi, what makes you think that Arsenal are going to beat Southampton 4-0 when they only just beat Mansfield 2-1? Like, where's the confidence coming from? Lumi, you know what? I'm starting to think you're a bot, I'm starting to think you're a bot. Because I just can't, I think you're a bot. I'm going to say you're a bot, man, because this can't be serious. How can you talk about winning the quadruple, yeah, when you ain't even won a single yet? So what happens when you lose a competition? Should we just start saying that I was right again? Sheffield Wednesday, like they're getting relegated from League One as well. Yeah, man, fall from grace, man. They're a big club as well, but just shows you, man, when you're out of the Premier League, man, it's very hard to get back into it. So they got relegated from Championship. Now they're gonna get relegated from League One. If they're not lucky, man, they'll find themselves in the conference. Crazy. You reckon 1-0 Arsenal? I mean, if they play their second team, who knows, man? It could be a different game. Because let's not forget, man, Southampton went away to Fulham and beat them. So who knows? Sheffield Wednesday all-time 11 would be crazy. Hey, listen, Benito Carboni, you know, they've had some players, man. Who else they had? Carboni, Di Canio. Boy, man like Carlton Palmer. Nah, Fitz, listen. I ain't doing no Sheffield Wednesday all-time 11 with Carlton Palmer, man. No way. Carlton Palmer. Nah, him and Dion Dublin, it's personal with them two, man. Seriously. It's personal with them two. Nah, I'm playing, man. I ain't doing no Carlton Palmer, and yeah, can't be doing that, man. Top 5 UFC fighters of all time. John Jones, Anderson Silva, George St. Pierre, Jose Aldo, so we got John Jones, Anderson Silva, George St. Pierre, Jose Aldo. One more. Difficult. Aldo suffers with brain damage. No way. Yeah, I can't think of the fifth one. Can't think, man. What's your beef with Dion? Bro, there's no beef, man. He's just shit. Like, he's a shit pundit, shit footballer. Enough said. Yeah, man. Let him stick to Homes under the hammer, man, and keep it moving. Because whenever I'm watching a game, yeah, and I'm seeing this guy on the screen or he's commentating, yeah, like I just can't do it. Yeah, Khabib has to be up there as well. I can't take it, man. He just talks rubbish, man. And the worst thing with Dion Dublin, yeah, is that he tries his best to lick us. I can't stand it. I can't stand it, man. Trust me. Just be yourself, man. Just be yourself. Yeah, Dion Dublin, man, he gets on my nerves. I ain't gonna lie. What's your best FM achievement, Gav? What, football manager? Dion broke his leg, leading to us signing Cole. Dion is a good guy in my eyes. Sacrificed for the benefit of the English game. Mr. Dublin, he's all right. Oh, you know what? I take it back, Dion, man. You let us get Coley, man. You're not as bad as I thought. But just stay off the commentary, man. I can't stand this guy when he commentates. Just like a lot of them. Him, Lee Dixon. Yeah, them guys are annoying, man, when it comes to commentary. Some of the worst. I'm telling you. Some of the worst. He could renovate a house. Yeah, listen, let him stick to that, man. And leave football to the experts. You know what I mean? That's what he's got to do, man. I'm telling you, whenever I'm seeing him on the TV or commentating, I just turn it off, man. Or I just put it on mute. Because I can't stand his commentary. It's ridiculous. Football manager, I won the Europa and FA Cup with Crawley Town. No way. No way. With Crawley Town. Who was in your team then? The thing is, my best achievement on FM, I'll be honest with you, yeah, I don't think I've really got one because, like, I'll be honest with you, there isn't nothing that I haven't done in Football Manager. There isn't nothing I haven't done. Like, just give me United, yeah, and I'll just start signing some serious players, get them playing a certain way, and the title's ours within 2 seasons and Champions League. That's just how I do. That's just how I do, man, honestly. So, yeah, listen, Crawley Town is a great achievement. Great achievement. But again, you're talking to someone, yeah, that played Football Manager when it was called Champ Manager. I used to have guys like Adriano in my team. I don't think people deep how good Adriano was in Championship Manager. When I used to be Man United, yeah, you could sign Adriano for cheap, yeah? I actually just signed Adriano as soon as the game started, yeah, from Inter, giving the number 10 shirt, and we're winning the league within a season. It's that simple. Because he was just he was an absolute menace on the game. The guy scored goals for fun. I think I told you guys already, yeah. When I had Adriano in all competitions, his minimum was 50 goals in all competitions. 50 in all comps. That was the minimum. So imagine what he was doing when he was just you know, outrageous kind of thing. But the minimum was 50 goals. That's what he was doing. Ridiculous. And again, you know me, I'm not a stats person, but yeah, that's something that you just have. And again, but Adriano was a top all-round player anyway. But yeah, he was ridiculous, man. Cheat code, as Fitz said, man. He was ridiculous. One of my favorite strikers of all time. Should have been he should have been the heir to R9's throne. He should have been. Yeah, Fitz, bro, man. I've got a yeah, man. That thing you done, man. The the football manager, man, with the old players, man. I got to somehow get football manager back, man, and start doing that again. We're gonna have to. I think we should go online, man, and just start a little league up or something, man, with the older players, because yeah, bro, that looks sick, man. I ain't gonna lie, that looks sick. Yeah, Khabib's up there, man. Yeah, 100%. If I'm naming 5, yeah, you'd have to say John Jones, Anderson Silva, GSP, Jules St. Pierre. What's his name? Jose Aldo. And you have to put Khabib in there as well. One of my favorite UFC fighters, though, from back in the day was there was 2. It was Benson Henderson and Anthony Pettis. Anthony Pettis with his Showtime kick. Yeah, listen, good night, man. It was good night when he put that on. Oh, big up to Bob Sterling. Sorry, Bob Erling Poundland. Mighty Mouse Johnson. Ooh. Mighty Mouse Johnson has got to be in there, actually. But who am I taking out? Yeah, Paddy Pimblett's sick, though, to be fair. Mighty Mouse Johnson, Justin Gagey. Mighty Mouse has got to be in there. But then again, you could arguably say Henry Cejudo, because didn't Cejudo end Mighty Mouse's didn't he beat him for the belt? Yeah, Mighty Mouse was serious, to be fair. Demetrius Mighty Mouse Johnson. I swear he's in is he in Bellator or Pride or something now? Can't remember. As I said, man, I'm out of touch with it now, but yeah, I still love UFC, man. But yeah, Mighty Mouse was ridiculous. It's a hard 5, but I think, if I'm being honest, man, for me, Anderson Silva, John Jones are definitely there. GSP is definitely there for me as well. And then it's a toss of a coin, man, between the others, you know. But it's a hard list, man. Yeah, I hear it, man. I hear it. I hear it, man. So what, you think Mighty Mouse should be in there ahead of GSP then? I don't know, man. GSP was serious, man. He was serious. Yeah, listen, that's probably mine. That's what I said. Yeah, Anderson Silva, John Jones, GSP. I had Aldo in there, Ilya Topuria. But again, for me, if Khabib's in there, yeah, if we're being realistic, yeah, you're probably taking, if you want to put Khabib in there, he might have to be for as tough as this is. You're either going to take out Jose Aldo or GSP. If you want to put what's his name in there? Khabib. Again, it's a difficult five, but John Jones, Anderson Silva, for me, they're undisputed. Big up to Titanium for subbing to Fitz's channel. Guys, make sure you go over and sub to Fitz as well, man, on his YouTube channel as well. Make sure you go over there. Fitz, put your channel name in the link in the chat, bro. Put it in the chat. Is Declan Rice key to England's World Cup hopes? Nope. He's not. He's not. Thomas Tuchel is. Because if Tuchel drops Jude Bellingham, then that could be the key. That's the key, I'm telling you. If he takes Bellingham, you know, it's not gonna go, it's not gonna be good, man, for England, because that guy, for me, he doesn't have a place in the lineup. And the thing is with him, the fanfare around him, yeah, is gonna be pressure for Tuchel that he doesn't need. If Tuchel just drops him, you know what I mean? If Tuchel just drops him, that would be a massive statement. All right, Lumi, listen, big up yourself. You're seeing sense now. You're seeing sense. Jude shouldn't be there. Now we're talking. Now we're talking. He shouldn't be there for so many reasons, as I've mentioned previously. You know, but let's see what happens. It's going to be interesting anyway. But guys, listen, I'm going to wrap it up anyway. I'm going to be back at 2:30. So we're going to do underrated 11 versus PR 11. So, yeah, make sure you guys come back and join me in about half an hour's time. I'm going to have something quickly to eat. And then, yeah, I'll be definitely back on. Dortmund considering move for Sancho when his contract expires at United. I'm frustrated, really, because I wanted Sancho to come back. But, yeah, it's looking like it's not happening. But, yeah, guys, listen, back at 2:30. Make sure you come back and join the channel. Again, make sure you hit the like button on your way out. Make sure you sub to the channel if you're new in here. And make sure you smash the like button as well. And, yeah, I'll catch you guys back in half an hour. And, guys, check out the stream again as well. Should Greenwood be in the squad? 100%, but he's not going to be, is he? So, yeah. But, guys, yeah, make sure you check out the stream from the beginning. Obviously, Kobbie Mainoo at 18 in comparison with Scholes and Gerrard at 19, at 20 as well. And then some of the stats, you know, you'd be interested to see that if you're comparing these stats with Declan Rice, Caicedo, and Rodri, you know what I mean? It might shock you or it might not. But, yeah, I'll catch you guys back in half an hour. Take it easy.